The battle for superiority within the walls of Red Bull rages on. Both Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez have no intention of backing down from each other, fighting to get the upper hand and earn the team's favor. In the middle of all this, rumors of Perez being replaced have been going around. Plus, the relationship between Red Bull and AlphaTauri is being monitored closely. But why? I know you want to hear all about it, so let's get on with the video. Alain Prost, former Formula One champion, has brought to light the upcoming challenges that Red Bull Racing will encounter amidst escalating tensions within the team. Despite winning all 3 races in the early stages of the 2023 season, the Austrian team's dominant position is expected to be challenged as the season progresses. This is due to their limited wind tunnel time compared to other teams, resulting from the cost cap dispute, which may cause the gap between them and their competitors to narrow. In addition, Prost has pinpointed another challenge that Red Bull Racing is expected to confront. The team has relied on one primary driver, Max Verstappen, for an extended period, with Sergio Perez occasionally making concessions to support him. Nonetheless, the current second-place holder in the championship, Perez, has already secured a race win and pole position. Prost, in his L'Equipe column, has forecasted that Sergio Perez may no longer be as accommodating as before in sacrificing his races to assist Max Verstappen. Instead, Perez may want to contend for the championship alongside Verstappen. He said, "Nevertheless, Red Bull, is also facing the beginning of a crisis. The single-driver system, Max Verstappen, which worked so well, is showing the first signs of failure. Sergio Perez, now installed in the team, discovered he could win and no longer seems intent on always compromising. Red Bull has been speculated to introduce younger talent into their team in the next few years, implying that Sergio Perez, 33, is not a viable long-term option. Interestingly, the potential replacement may already be part of the team's roster, and it is not Daniel Ricciardo. Sergio Perez has been a valuable addition to the Red Bull team, continually progressing and fulfilling the team's requirements by achieving victories when Max Verstappen faces difficulties. This was evident in the recent Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, where Perez performed exceptionally well, filling the gap left by Verstappen's mechanical problem during qualifying. However, despite his notable contributions, Perez, who is currently 33 years old, is not a permanent solution for Red Bull. His existing contract is valid until the end of the 2024 season, by which time he will be almost 35 years old. Red Bull is expected to evaluate all available choices in the future when determining Max Verstappen's partner, as he is under contract until the end of 2028. The team's current reserve driver, Daniel Ricciardo, will also be in his mid-30s by then and may already have a race seat on the grid, provided he has his preference. Should Franz Tost's hypothesis prove true, Red Bull might consider recruiting Yuki Tsunoda to occupy the seat. The AlphaTauri team principal has been greatly impressed by the Japanese driver's performance at the beginning of the new season and believes that a move to the Red Bull team could be a possibility in the future. He said, "Yuki drove 2 extremely strong races so far. I am very happy with him. It's not his fault that we aren't competitive yet." After enduring 2 impressive yet disappointing 11th place finishes, Tsunoda finally secured his first point of the season in a thrilling race in Melbourne. Franz Tost expressed his dissatisfaction with his engineers as the lap times of the AT04 did not meet the accepted standards. He stated that he cannot emulate Aston Martin's approach by recruiting skilled personnel from Red Bull. However, he emphasized that the collaboration with the senior team has become more intense. Before the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Tost criticized AlphaTauri's designers, expressing his lack of trust in them due to their inconsistency. He spoke about it, saying, "I don't trust them anymore. I just want to see the lap time because this is the only thing that counts." Given the dissatisfaction expressed by Helmut Marko regarding the team's on-track performance and financial status, there is a possibility that Tost's position as team boss might be at stake. Consequently, the team has made alterations, including the appointment of Lars Stegelmann as AlphaTauri's new head of commercial. Tost has disclosed that the aerodynamic department has already undergone restructuring, saying, "The aero department was reorganized. We have separated from some employees, and I am now expecting an increase in performance from the new people. I don't want to name any names just yet. Just this much. The responsibility is now divided between 3 people." When asked why AlphaTauri did not follow Aston Martin's approach of recruiting individuals from Red Bull, especially considering the senior team's success with the new ground effect aerodynamic regulations, Tost stated that it would not be appropriate for them to do so. However, he revealed that they have strengthened their relationship with Red Bull, a relationship that the FIA is closely monitoring. "Because we can't just poach capable people from Red Bull Racing like Aston Martin did," he replied. "Their newcomers were able to develop the new car at an early stage. We see the result now. But the same applies to us. The cooperation with Red Bull is now being intensified. However, the regulations are very precise. You can't just copy parts. We should only accept Red Bull parts that are officially allowed. But they are not relevant to performance. We have to develop the rest ourselves. The FIA takes a close look at that." Yuki Tsunoda secured AlphaTauri's first point of the 2023 season at the Australian Grand Prix, while his teammate Nick de Vries was unfortunately eliminated by Logan Sargent. The team's solitary point places them in 9th position in the standings, well behind the midfield fight now being led by McLaren, who have accumulated 12 points. "Our goal was to get into Q3 in qualifying and drive for points. So far, this has not been successful. The car is too slow. The problem is the aerodynamics. We lack speed, especially on the straights. We must now find ways to get out of the dilemma. We're on the right track there. This also includes making better use of the Red Bull wind tunnel in England. I was in Milton Keynes last week for that. We have identified the weak points of the car, and now we have to produce new parts as quickly as possible." Fred Vasseur, the team principal of Ferrari, believes that the penalty given to Red Bull last season for overspending the budget cap was not severe enough to have a significant impact on the team. Despite Red Bull's dominance in the 2023 Formula One season, Vasseur remains confident that Ferrari can improve their car's performance and close the gap to the championship leaders. "It's not a penalty," he said. "Red Bull have done a good job, but I am still convinced that the penalty was very light, that it should be severe given the rate of development we are doing this season and when you can spend what you're saving somewhere else. If you consider that you have an advantage at the beginning of the season because you spent more the year before, that's a compensation. I don't want to say they didn't do a good job because they did a very good job on the car. I am not trying to find any excuses, but if you ask me if the penalty is too light, I say yes. Red Bull breached the £114 million budget cap by $1.86 million last year and were given a $6.05 million fine along with a 10% reduction in aerodynamics testing. Despite the supposed sporting impediment, Red Bull has emerged stronger than ever this season. With 3 wins out of 3 races, will they keep riding high or will they crumble from the inside? Tell us what you think in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.